Hi everyone, my name is Sister Thea Krause. I'm a sister of the Holy Family of Nazareth and a member of the Board of Directors of CSFN Mission and Ministry Incorporated. Some of you might know it better as MMI. It's my pleasure to be here with you today to talk to you a little bit about a mission education program that we've developed specifically with you in mind. As employees and trustees of some of our sponsored ministries, you have a responsibility to continue the mission of Jesus and to do that in the spirit of the sisters. And to that end, this program of mission education is developed for you. The sisters, whom some of you have worked alongside for many years, have a special charism or gift that's been handed down to them by their foundress. A charism is a theological term that we use to talk about a special gift or grace that's given by God to someone to help them help others. This charism that the sisters have shared with you has set the tone for what you do day in and day out in the ministries that you perform. Many of you may not be as familiar with that charism or with the sisters, because as the sisters transition out of healthcare and out of schools and out of social service agencies and move into more governance responsibilities and assume those leadership responsibilities, there are fewer of them to sit down with you and have a cup of coffee, talk to you about their foundress, talk to you about the charism, talk to you about the mission, or talk to you about the hopes and dreams that they have for the ministry that you are a part of. And so what we'd like to do today is introduce you to this mission education program. Talk to you a little bit more about that charism that we're entrusting to you. Help you understand how we expect the mission of Jesus to be done in light of that charism. It's as simple as, what's it like to sit at the bedside of a dying patient? Under what circumstances and in what spirit should I be shoveling the snow so that students and teachers can access classrooms so that they can explore the mysteries of science and religion? It's as important as, how is it that I visit families in the home, provide them companionship and support. It's as important as how it is I walk out into the streets and meet the poor, and in doing that somehow try and change the world. As an employee or associate of one of our sponsored ministries, whatever you do it in the name of Jesus, and you do it in the spirit of the Sisters of the Holy Family. As sponsors of your various ministries, it's our responsibility to design ways to help you understand what our expectations are of you. And so to that end, we've developed this program of education. It's a 3-year program of mission education, and this is the first year. During this year, we have 4 sessions or 4 chapters. And the first one is today. Today we're going to talk about the history and the works that the sisters have done here in the United States over the last 130 years. In chapters 2 through 4, one of our sisters will talk to you about 3 values that we think are essential to any sponsored ministry of the Sisters of the Holy Family. More importantly than what we're going to share with you is what we're hoping you will share with us. We're going to ask you to tell us how you think these core values, these 3 important values, are lived out in you and in your organizations. But before we do that, let's take time today to talk about the history of the sisters and the work that they've been doing here in the United States. A congregation of women religious, such as the Sisters of the Holy Family, plays a special role in the Catholic Church and in society. It helps its members deepen in their love for God, and hopefully helps them to carry out the mission of Jesus in the name of Jesus. The sisters each take vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. And those vows are intended to help them deepen in their own spiritual formation, but also help them decide how they'll best live their life for the mission. Each religious congregation is established by someone who recognized a special need in society or in the church, and who was given a charism or a gift to address that need. The Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth were established in just that way. Back in 1875, in Rome, Frances Shedliska, with love in her heart and love as a guiding force for everything she did, focused on families and family needs as a distinctive responsibility for her congregation. In fact, the charism of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth states very clearly that we are to extend God's love among ourselves and others through dedicated service to the church, and especially the church's ministry to family. With that in mind, the sisters first came to the United States in 1885, and they came into Chicago in response to the critical needs of families who were dealing with social and poverty issues in that community. The congregation soon flourished, vocations became numerous, but just as numerous as the vocations were calls for the sisters' help. Soon the sisters were serving all over the Midwest, including areas from the Mississippi to New England. And the sheer volume of their growing number and their expanding responsibility with ministry forced them to be grouped into 5 of what we call provinces. You probably would understand them more commonly as headquarters. That first province was founded in Chicago in 1886, where our foundress and 9 of her sisters, that was one half of the congregation at the time, first came to attend to the immigrant families and to address those poor social conditions that were going on in Chicago. Sisters in the Chicago area worked in schools, hospitals, and social service agencies. Not only in Illinois, though, they had moved and expanded beyond there. Soon the sisters were serving all over the Midwest, places like Wisconsin, Texas, New Mexico, Indiana. The Philadelphia province was our second province. It was established in 1918. Sisters there, too, were involved in healthcare and social service ministries and in education. Their efforts were concentrated primarily in eastern Pennsylvania, in New York, Connecticut, Florida, and they outreached into Puerto Rico. Sisters in the Pittsburgh province were also established in 1918. There they attended to the needs of families in communities in western Pennsylvania, extended into Ohio, Michigan, Alabama, and Maryland. And they were addressing those same social health care needs that were being impacted by the industrial age at the time. A province located in Monroe, Connecticut was established in 1959, where the sisters were primarily attending to education and parish ministries in and through Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York. The sisters in the Texas province focused their attentions primarily in health care and in parish ministry. They worked not only in Texas, places like Tyler and Dallas-Fort Worth, but they also extended into New Mexico. No matter where the sisters went, no matter what they did, no matter what the focus was, the sisters worked to address the critical unmet needs of families. And they did that cognizant of their foundress' expectation that they do it with love in their heart. And as much as humanly possible, we carried out that mission as by faithfully listening to God and to the social needs of the time. We listened to what the expectations were, what the needs were, and we responded likewise. And because there have been so many faithful sisters and people like yourself, the charism of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth and the mission of Jesus is alive and well in the United States. You will hear more about Frances Shedliska in future talks, but I want to take just a couple minutes to talk to you about some special moment in her history and in our history. When the Catholic Church recognized her holiness and her faithfulness to God, when in 1989 she was beatified or made blessed by the Catholic Church. For those of you who don't understand what that means, simply stated, it's the last step to canonization. But it is a long process. It's a process in which the Church explores this lady's virtuousness, her holiness, what gifts she has given to society and the Church, and whether or not all of that has made a difference. Well, she was baptized Frances. She, like many women before her who entered religious life, changed her name. And in religious life, she was known as Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd, which is why when the Church beatified her, she was beatified Blessed Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd. While she's officially known as Blessed Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd in the Church, you'll often hear us talking about her as Mother Frances or Mother Foundress or Blessed Mary. Whatever term you use to reference her, know that it was this holy woman and the work that she began that is why your organization exists today. Her charism, her commitment to the Church, her focus on families, called into birth the ministry that you are a part of. The sisters have always recognized this responsibility we have to pass this legacy on to future generations. And so when we decided to merge our 5 American provinces back into one in 2007, we gave a special attention to the sponsored ministries. because we believe that our sponsored ministries are the locus for how the charism will continue into the future. And we believe that you have a special role to play in carrying that on into future generations. In fact, our sponsored ministries are so critical that we established a new ministry called CSFN Mission and Ministry Incorporated, with the primary responsibility for overseeing that what you do is being done in the name of the church and is being done in the charism of the Sisters of the Holy Family. And so your CEOs, your principals, your presidents all work directly with MMI and its board of trustees. Our responsibility is to see that the charism of Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd is alive and well in your organizations, that it's flourishing, and that you are conducting your works in accordance with the Catholic Church and its Catholic social teachings. You are doing this in places like Nazareth Academy Grade School, when you help families to form young minds so that they can learn and reason and begin to know the goodness of God. You're doing this at St. Leonard's Home when you're helping the young at heart find a safe place to live and allowing their families to feel comfortable that their loved ones are safe indeed. Many of you are doing this at Holy Family University, where tomorrow's leaders are being shaped, not only academically, but with a value system that will shape their lives now and into the future. Those of you at the community of Holy Family Manor are doing this when you're helping to provide safe living conditions for families and teaching the young and the old how precious they are to one another and how each generation is important within the family context and how it contributes to shaping the entire family. At Holy Family Institute, you help to mend broken families. You attend to the vulnerable, those who are most at risk in our society, and you help them find hope and strength and character that they will need to enter into the world. In Texas, at Trinity Mother Francis Health System, you help individuals, their families, and their communities to stay healthy, to recover when illness does set in, to learn to deal with chronic illnesses, and when the time comes, you help them transition from life to death with dignity. At Nazareth Academy High School, you bring the mission to life by allowing young women to accomplish goals that women before them could only dream of. The charism of Blessed Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd is alive and well in the United States because of people like you. You bring professionalism and critical skills to our ministries. The gifts you offer, the character of your person, the attitudes with which you enter your work each day contribute to the sisters and their focus on ministry. This focus is rooted in our belief that God is present in the most simple and ordinary experiences of human life. What's more simple than a family unit? Therefore, we anticipate a family perspective in all of our ministries, which means your policies, your procedures, your programs, your services are all to exist to enhance family and family relationships. And that you work to change systems that erode family life, that erode loving relationships, and that you support initiatives that empower families to fulfill their commitment to one another and to the greater good. Your efforts to support families, no matter what size, color, shape, or configuration, is part of an international effort that extends far beyond the United States. And while I'm not going to mention much about this, let me just share with you that the sisters are still headquartered in Rome, and we serve on 5 continents throughout 15 nations, alongside men and women such as yourself, who find the charism and vision of Blessed Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd relevant in today's society. The history that began over 135 years ago when Frances Shedliska envisioned her Nazareth in America until the present day, the mission has continued. Hundreds of thousands of individuals and families have been touched by God's love through you and the sisters. In an effort to ensure that these good works continue and that you're comfortable with your role in it, we've invited 3 of our sisters to speak to you about core values that we think are essential in any sponsored ministry of the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth. Sister Marie, Sister Maria, and Sister Cynthia will introduce you to one of each of these 3 core values. They'll share with you both the theological and the contemporary understanding of those values and why they're important to your ministry. Both their wisdom and their experience makes them ideal candidates to have these conversations with you. But understand that as wise as they are, as experienced as they are, they really stand on the shoulders of thousands of women who have gone before them, who have impassionately lived the charism of Francis Shedliska, and who have brought to birth the ministry that you are now a part of. Finally, let's remember it's less important what we do than the why and the how of what we do. In faith-based organizations, we do our work because of Jesus, and we do our work because of Blessed Mary of Jesus the Good Shepherd. I hope you take time to listen to our three speakers as they talk to you about the values. Not because you have to, but because you realize how important they are to your work, your ministry, and that you understand that without your commitment to those values, the work that we have begun is at risk. Thank you for your time. Enter into the mission dialogue. Listen to one another, share with one another, and let the words that you share inspire others so that the work that has begun can continue.
With sun and stars I created you, the likeness of my soul. With delight I looked on my handiwork and found it very good. We are all one people of one same birth, and we all share the wealth of the one same earth. We are one great song from the heart of God. We are all the beloved of the one great love. The earth still groans in its labor pains to bring God's love to birth. So we work with Christ to prepare that day when all will be complete. We are all one people of one same birth, and we all share the wealth of the one same earth. We are one great song from the heart of God. We are all the beloved of the one great love. The cries of the poor are a gift to us to stir God's Spirit in our hearts. We are all rich and poor,